just wants the ball, wants to challenge you, and he's ready for tomorrow for sure.
In the back on the left center aisle.
Yeah, hi Dan. Have your impressions of Guerrero changed at all? And what did you make of Shohei's performance last night?
Yeah, I mean, incredible performance. Unprecedented, really, to see what Shohei did. On the mound and at the plate. He just it's just almost unfathomable to think that one person was capable of that, and just a great ball game for him. And congratulations to the Dodgers for advancing. So that's a history making game for sure. In terms of Guerrero, he's a great hitter, and he's a guy in that lineup that is one that can do a lot of damage, and so you certainly you have to measure that, and when you go into game planning, you have to understand that, and so that certainly is something that we've talked about, and going forward, that's a spot that he continues to swing the bat well, so something we have to pay attention to.
Second row on your right, Dan.
Hey, Dan. It's pretty clear that the Mariners and the Blue Jays, not just you and John Schneider, but all the players seem to have a lot of respect, even admiration for each other. How does that dynamic shape this series where there's so much mutual respect?
Yeah, I think both teams, in some ways very similar. Teams that like to play hard 1 through 9, and I think that's where the respect comes from. Certainly, that's what this series has played out so far. But I think that's the exciting part of the postseason. That's what we're here for, is the competition and guys going at it hard. And it's certainly been a good series so far, and I think that's a big reason why.
Other questions for Dan? Gabe?
Reliever exposure has been such a talking point in both series. When you get to a Game 6, does that maybe go out the window a little bit just because everybody's seen everybody, and at this point you just want your best guy on their best guy? Or
yeah,
keep that in mind? I
mean, that's a good question, and I think in some ways we've been fortunate a little bit in order that we've had some we had a couple innings from Brian Wu. We had a couple games where we were able to open it up offensively, as did Toronto. And so you didn't see some of the higher leverage guys. So, but yeah, I mean, I think this is a time of year again where you're trying to go, your best against their best, and you see how that plays out, and I think we've had some really good matchups here in this series, and I think that it continues to look that way as we go forward.
Any questions for Dan? Yeah. Front.
You saw what Trey Savage did to the Yankees, and you guys handled it pretty well here. What are the keys to getting it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were able to put some pitches on him early. See, we were fairly patient when we had to be. I think that was a big key for us. And then, when we were able to get pitches that we were able to hit, we were able to do something with them. And again, that's a big part of the postseason is being able to generate the offense when you have the opportunities. And we certainly were able to do that the first time around, and that's what we'll be looking to do again this time around.
Anything else for Dan? All right, Dan, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Logan Gilbert will be down in a couple minutes. Logan, who has the first question. We'll start with Jeff. We'll get you the microphone.
Logan, what's it mean to you to start a potential clinching game and have the opportunity to send your team to the World Series?
Yeah, it's huge. It's been such a long year just to get to this point is amazing, but to be the one to have the ball, and you grow up dreaming of moments like this, and you don't know how many you'll get over the course of your career. Some guys never get this, so it's a really big deal, and hopefully just contribute to the team.
Fourth row on your far left, Brian.
Logan, how much do you think it helped you getting back in your regular routine now after pitching in the 15-inning game?
Yeah, it's nice. A lot of us, first time doing different things. Woo, the other day, Bryce on short rest. So that's the playoffs, and that's kind of the fun of it too. But we're kind of creatures of habit too. So it's nice being back in the normal routine, and even pitching here last time and now coming back here. So just a little familiarity.
How tough was it to bounce back from that?
Arm, like health and all that. It was fine. It wasn't too bad. I think there's so much adrenaline now. So like the day after, you kind of pay the price a little bit because it's masked or whatever from the adrenaline. But it's also a good thing that anytime you're out there, you usually feel pretty good. So honestly, it really wasn't too bad.
Left center in the back, Keegan.
As you've looked at the Blue Jays lineup again over this week, what is the identity when you look at them compared to an average lineup? Like, what's their thing that you really have to attack?
Well, I mean, identity-wise, I think they're the lowest in strikeouts in the league, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, that sticks out for sure. Most of their lineups fairly aggressive, but I mean, things to attack, I can't really say too much, but I think it's nice to know the other team. It's nice to know maybe strengths or weaknesses, but I think as a pitcher, you always have to know what we do really well, what our identity is too, and any small adjustments to make to the other team, it's worth considering. But for the most part, we kind of do what we do to make us successful.
Go across the aisle to Mitch.
Kind of on that, your rotation attacks the zone a lot. They're very aggressive, make a lot of contact. What is the cat and mouse game of kind of staying in the zone and balancing your aggression with their aggression?
Yeah, that's a good point. We've seen that a lot this series, and it's somewhere in the middle. I think you know the situation of the game, too. We never want to shy away from what we do, and getting good counts is huge, but also knowing there's some freedom to go to our spots when we have those situations, and there's been some discussions about that. Just from other starters or guys that have gotten in the game, what they've seen too. So it's definitely, it's not one or the other, it's somewhere in the middle, but I think it's kind of situational too.
And then what is kind of the emotions after last night's win, the flight coming here today? Like, when does yesterday's game kind of get put in the rear view? How does it kind of linger into today for you?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, so much excitement. That's an all-time game. Like, we'll be talking about that decades from now, and just to be a part of it, it's like be there to watch as a fan almost is crazy. But we're still a long ways away. Like, we're 9 long innings away from where we want to be, and I think everybody gets that. There was no panic after losing 1 or 2 at home, and I don't think there was like this unbelievable high that we can't get past either. I think this team's been really good, especially in the playoffs, of being just present, like today, this game. That's all there is. And I think that's hopefully going to continue.
Go to the fourth row on the right side here.
Hi. You guys intentionally walked Vladdy twice yesterday. I was wondering, as a pitcher, how disappointing is you when you get those marching orders rather than wanting to attack him, coming in with your best stuff?
I mean, he's a good hitter, so like I said earlier, a lot of stuff's situational, but it's fun too in the moment. Like, this is stuff you dream of. If there's guys on base and Vlad's up to bat, he's one of the best hitters in the league. So, it's not probably the ideal situation, but in a moment like this, it's kind of just everybody out there is the ultra competitor and wants situations where everything's on the line. Sometimes it goes great, sometimes it doesn't. But it's fun having amazing hitters up in the box or facing really good lineups, because it's like, this is the kind of stuff you dream of. It's where you really get to find out about yourself. With that said, it's not the worst pitching around him sometimes, too, to get to the next guy.
Second row on your right, Logan.
Hi, Logan. It seems like there's a lot of mutual respect between the Mariners and the Blue Jays. How has that shaped the dynamic of this series compared to maybe more heated series?
Yeah, I think, I mean, there's just the history going back the last few years, at least when I've been here in the wild card series, and we always have really competitive games during the season. Their fans travel really well to Seattle, unfortunately, so there's a lot of that too. But I think we both know that we both seem to play really complete brands of baseball, I would say, from pitching, defense, hitting. Like, it's not just one or two players going out there. So I think we kind of see a little bit of each other and ourselves, maybe. And I can't speak for everyone, but that's just the kind of opinion I have. So I know that they're in a really tough division too, and they've put themselves on the map, especially this year with what they're doing. So there's definitely some respect there.
Third row, your left, Gabe.
Hey, Logan. You mentioned adrenaline. Is that something that can be managed or even leveraged in your favor when you have a night like last night? And what's that balance like between trying to do that with staying on task with the 9 innings ahead of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, in the moment, it's a huge balance. The playoffs is so much momentum based that I think you have to ride with the momentum. And moments like Gino's home run, Cal's home run, that stuff's huge. But actually, in the moment, the adrenaline's great for your body, your sharpness of your mind, that kind of stuff. But you don't ever want to try too hard, really, in the moment. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you have to know that even in the biggest moment in the playoffs, you have to do the exact same thing the same way that you've been doing the whole season. And I think we've seen that with a lot of our guys and the way they treat big situations. Gino's probably the best example of he knows exactly what makes him successful, not trying to overdo it. He said that in his post-game presser, I think, and just keeping it simple, and that's what helps us out in the moment.
And how did that plane ride rate on the scale of everybody's sleeping versus everybody's still kind of amped up?
On the plane?
Yeah.
I don't think there was much sleeping. After a game like that, it's tough. But like I said, you got to ride the momentum when it's there.
Other questions for Logan? Yeah, third row on your right.
Logan, I'm not sure whether you saw Dave Roberts kind of lean in a little last night after the win about the ruining of baseball that his team has been accused of. He said something, let's get 4 more wins and really ruin baseball. I'm just wondering, do you feel like that, is there any truth in that statement? What do you think of the accusations of the Dodgers ruining baseball?
I didn't see that one. That's a question I want to be maybe careful about what I say, but honestly, I don't have anything bad to say. I think it's just a very loaded issue right now. I think it's great when really good players get paid a lot of money. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it's fun for the people in it, at least. I don't know what fans think really, but if we're fortunate enough to win one more game, I think it's exactly what you dream of. And the hundreds of years of baseball, like, this could be the best team ever in the Dodgers that we could get to go against. Like, that's the opportunity you dream of. So I personally, I think it's great, but I don't know what other people think.
Do a couple more up front on your right.
Along those lines, what are your thoughts on what Shohei Ohtani did last night as a pitcher and a hitter?
Unbelievable. I mean, he's, I think, by far the best player that's ever played the game. I know that other people have different opinions too, but in the moment too, like, that's a clinching game in the NLCS against a really good team, a first-place team, and he can go and do things like that where he just kind of sets himself up above the rest of the competition, even elite players on the same stage. So it is really fun to watch. I don't love watching home run highlights, but I mean, it is fun to see what he's doing.
Anything else for Logan? All right, Logan,
All right,
thanks so much for your
guys.
time. Appreciate it. John Schneider should be down in a minute, and then Trey will be in after John. start with John. Who is the first question? We'll start with Keegan on the left center aisle in the back.
John, has George been able to do anything today, and how's he feeling?
Feeling better today. CT scan he got last night, negative. So just a contusion, as we say. But he's getting treatment. He's going to be doing some stuff here in a little bit, probably moving around, but feeling a lot better than he did yesterday.
What about Bo going into today? Has he started running the bases yet again, or where's that?
No, not running the bases. He's run more. You guys have probably seen him in the outfield, but not on the bases yet. May do that today. But he's definitely making progress. Definitely making progress with his swing as well, too.
Fifth row, straight ahead, Shy.
John, just further on George, what does he have to do to be ready for tomorrow physically with the knee?
Just tell me he's good to go, and he's good to go. Georgie's played through a lot, probably more than you guys know, this year, but over the course of his career, too. So just make sure that it's not bothering him swinging and not bothering him running. But he's a tough dude, so I'm hopeful and optimistic that he'll be good to go.
And just looking back to last night, over the course of the season, you make dozens, hundreds of decisions. How do you manage the what ifs that come with all those decisions?
It's part of the job. Every decision you make that doesn't work out, I regret. You know what I mean? No matter who it is, whether it's a hitter, a pinch hitter, a pitcher, a starting pitcher, it's part of the job, So there's what ifs always, you know what I mean? There's what ifs always in this game. And I think that you learn from them, you trust your people around you when you are making decisions. You make them and you move on, you know what I mean? That's where I'm at with it. So it sucks. We still took 2 out of 3 there. We got the series back here. We're excited to play here in front of our fans. But there's what ifs from day one of spring training. Did we schedule this meeting too early? Did we not? Whatever it is. There's always what ifs, but it's part of the job, and you can move on and get ready for tomorrow.
Stay there with Steve.
John, the decision last night, I know how you guys go through the pregame preparation. If this happens, we're going to do this. If that happens, we're going to do that. How much of what you decided was this is part of what our pregame preparation is, or this is instantaneous at this moment, I want to do this?
You try to do I think when you're making decisions, you have to be prepared for anything really, So we spend a lot of time talking through specific spots that have happened, meaning like guys that have seen certain arms, guys that have not. So again, I think that you try to slow those decisions down in real time. It wasn't instantaneous. You know what I mean? I think you're watching where their lineup is unfolding, and you trust that the work that you've done is gonna lead to success. It doesn't always happen every time, but not flying by the seat of our pants by any mean. And whenever a decision doesn't work out, I get that it gets magnified.
Go to the fourth row on your right.
I want to ask you about Trey, but just a supplementary further to what Steve asked. Last night you did not sound regretful about the choices that you made, and you just said it didn't work out. Understandable. On the morning after, the afternoon after, do you still think it was not a mistake? It was just the way it worked out? Or in retrospect, was it a mistake? And then I'm going to ask you about Trey.
To define a mistake, I said last night, we've gotten to the point where we've gotten to because of every single guy on our team. I can sit here and say it's not a mistake, and you guys will all write that I said it's not a mistake, and I'll get crushed on social media for saying that. I get it. I trust my players. I trust my players. And in hindsight, I had a couple other options to do. That's what I decided to do. So, again, I have all the information that I need, and I don't think I made a mistake. Players have to go perform. There is always risk when you put a player in a situation that he won't get the job done. That's part of the game. But no, I stick by my players. I stick by my decision. I leave them behind me. I've learned that over the years. I'm totally focused on the game tomorrow.
Okay. And just about Trey, you've got a 22-year-old rookie, and the season really is resting on his shoulders. What gives you confidence in what he's able to give you tomorrow?
I think just what he's done this whole year, not just here with us in the big leagues, but over the course of his season. You know, he's pitched in a lot of big games. You know, he's pitched in, you know, big regular season games. He's pitched in big postseason games, and he's handled himself well. So, again, I don't want to put all of the pressure on Trey. You know, he's the starting pitcher. We're going to have 9 guys in the lineup that got to do their job and guys that got to do their job on defense too. So we got all the confidence in the world that he'll have the right mindset. He's got to go out and do what he does.
Second row, you're right, John.
Hey, John. Welcome back to Toronto.
Thank you. Good to be back.
What have the conversations been like in the past, say, 20 hours, whether it was on the plane, in the clubhouse, in meetings, especially with Trey, but just in general with the players?
It's been pretty normal. You know what I mean? I think you guys talked to a few of them yesterday in Seattle, and these guys are pretty steady. You know what I mean? It's everything gets put into a vacuum, game by game, inning by inning, day by day. We wanted to get the series back here, and we did that. And I think guys are really confident playing here. So that's been the vibe the whole year. That's been the vibe today. So really nothing has changed. You know, you don't have to give them a rah-rah speech. You don't have to do any kind of stuff like that. They're ready for it. Yeah, that's the beauty of this team. They move on to the next thing.
Mitch in the 6th row.
John, I'm just wondering the lineup changes that they made yesterday. How does that change kind of the complexion of the top of their lineup and how you attack that group?
You know, I think that you're still trying to get certain guys against certain guys, you know, and they got to go out and make pitches. I think they're just trying to get their best hitters up more, you know, to be honest with you. Naylor's swinging the bat well. Polanco's having a really good postseason. So, I mean, you get what they're doing. Julio swung the bat well. So I think you just try to get the right guys into the right spots. I think they do a good job of kind of protecting some lefties and things like that, but it doesn't really change much.
And then going into tomorrow, is it an all hands on deck situation for the pitching side? How are you going to manage like that with knowing you need to win 2 here?
Yeah. Well, starting with tomorrow, you know, you got to win tomorrow. So we're trying to win 1 game in a row. We've done that 99 times this year. So everyone will be available that is physically available. You know, you'll see some guys that you normally haven't seen in the bullpen, and you try to pick the right spots for them. But want to try to operate as normal as possible. But if situations pop up, I think everyone will be available.
Go to Keegan and then Annie.
John, with Trey, the Mariners, when they saw him first, there was less eager on the splitter, kind of the Yankees for a comparison. Is that an adjustment that Trey will need to look at in terms of how they approached him, and what does that adjustment game kind of look like for him? Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be an adjustment. What that is, I'll keep with us. You know what I mean? But I think that, yeah, that's the cat and mouse game of a 7-game series when you're facing a starter a couple times.
And Annie?
When you've got all those guys available that you're talking about in the bullpen, do you know, what first sign of trouble for Trey? Do you try to get him out of there? How do you kind of go about that?
Read the swings they're taking. You know, kind of you gotta see how the game unfolds a little bit. It's not going to be a set script or anything like that. I think that in games that you have to win, you know, you may be a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, don't want to deviate too much from what we've been doing.
Go to Gabe on your left here.
Does it get harder or less difficult to manage when you get to Game 6 of a series like this, just because you don't have to think as much 3-4 days down the road in terms of matchups, but also everybody's kind of seen everybody at this point?
Yeah, I think it's always difficult. I don't want to say it gets easier by any means. It's always difficult, but I think it comes down to guys in situations either making big pitches, big plays, or big swings. You know, I think that familiarity amongst the teams is a real thing. Amongst starting pitchers is a real thing. Everyone's going to have to make adjustments. So I think just the biggest thing is you can't go out and try to do something you're not capable of doing. And that's what this team is really good at. So you got to try to put guys in good spots, and they got to go out and they got to, you know, have their moment.
Third row on your right, Ian.
John, forgive me for going back to last night quickly. Just wanted to clarify something I hadn't seen. Was Hoffman available last night? Like physically available?
You got the game?
I just meant like physically available to. I'm sorry. I don't mean to belabor the point. I'm just wanted to make sure that he was physically available.
He's on the roster. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. That's all. And then sorry, just to follow a different question. You're seeing Gilbert again tomorrow. You could argue that the Gilbert you saw in Game 2 was maybe he's coming off the 15 inning, the relief appearance. What do you make of the challenge of a sort of regular rest Logan Gilbert in the game tomorrow?
Every game's a new challenge. They have really good pitching. We'll be ready for them.
Do a couple last ones, Shy.
John, when you say guys who aren't usually in the bullpen could be available, would Max Scherzer be within that group? Is that enough time for him to recover?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anything else for Shines? John, baseball fan, and you have any any thoughts on Shohei Ohtani last night?
Wow. I mean, I think when the postseason, when you're talking about either a guy going 6 innings, punching out 10, or hitting 3 homers, he's standing up here and he's famous. The dude did both. Pretty incredible, changing the way the game is being played right now. Pretty unbelievable.
Awesome. See you tomorrow.
See you guys.
Trey Savage will be down shortly. get started with Trey. Who has the first question? I'll start with Keegan, 6 rows back on your left, Trey.
Hey, Trey, it seems like every game you pitch is a pretty big one at this point. Has this become any more normal to you over the past few weeks?
I'm attempting for it to be more normal, but every game has been a lot on the line with it, so just trying to make it as normal as possible.
And you're facing a team that you saw recently, so this is a bit of a change for you. And you get into that adjustment game against them. I know you don't want to reveal exactly what those are, but what is that process like with you and Pete and the staff?
Yeah, I mean, it's just watching other pitchers go at it and how they attack the hitters and where success is found and where success is not found.
The 4th row on your left with Arden.
Trey, what did you kind of learn about just the mentality, the mindset of pitching in the postseason when you did it a few days ago?
I learned that it's not just one game, because I have to come back out here and pitch game 6. So being able to move on from a start, whether good or bad, and go out there and treat it like a new day.
You faced the Rays in pretty quick succession at the end of the year. What did that kind of teach you about facing the same lineup again closely after you just faced them?
Yeah, I mean, it's you're able to navigate it differently because you kind of know what to expect, in a sense. Not saying that that's going to be the case tomorrow, but I kind of have an expectation going into it.
Go 6 rows back. Mitch.
Trey, you've had a couple of these really big league starts now. Before the first playoff one, you gave the "I'm built for this" line. It seems like you kind of like this stage. I'm just wondering, what is it about kind of these big games and these big moments that you enjoy?
Just all the work all season has led up to this moment, not only for me, but for the team that has been doing it since March. And everything has led us to this point, and we're able to show the world who we are. So it's special.
Go to the 4th row.
Just a little bit further to that question. They've been big moments for you since you came up, but how do you make the moment not so big so that you can deal with it, which is tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, you got
reach into.
Right. You really need to treat it as if it was a regular season game, mentally. You can't make it bigger than what you are used to and what it is. And you got to sink to your training and not rise to the occasion.
Shy 5 rows back.
Trey, at this point, I assume this is the longest season that you've ever had of pitching. Physically, what is that been like for you, and what are you feeling some things you've never felt before at this point? Are you having to make some physical adjustments that are new to you? Can you describe a bit of that process?
It's definitely been a difference because obviously it's been the longest I've thrown, but the organization throughout the entire minor league system monitored my pitch count, my innings, so I'm not as fatigued as I would be if that wasn't the case. So I'm in a very good spot where I'm at.
And in the last outing, there was a bit of a velo drop in the later innings. Was there anything you identified between the starts that led to that, and ideas of how to counter that potentially if it arises again tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that I just wasn't connected in my delivery as much, so just keeping everything in place and firing when it needs to fire, I think that'll get me back on the right track.
Questions for Trey? Yeah, Keegan?
Trey, going back through the past couple of starts, Gosman being sharp in Game 5, but especially Max and his performance for you. What was it like for you to watch that as a young pitcher, to see his interactions with Schneider, what he did in the field, and how does that fire you up for a game like this?
It's really cool. Being able to watch that in person and be a part of it was awesome. They call him Mad Max for a reason, and he proved it there. But just the passion that he has for this game is amazing to have been doing it for as long as he has. It's really cool to watch.
Go back to the 4th row.
What does the rest of today look like for you? What are you going to be doing, spending the evening?
Gonna get in the training room and get prepped for everything I need for tomorrow to be feeling at my best, and just taking the night off, watching some football, and not thinking too much.
Across the aisle, Gabe.
You had to check off so many boxes to get here, and now here you are in late October still competing. Beyond obviously wanting to win the game to keep the season going for the team tomorrow, how much do you want to continue to be able to compete longer than you ever have any time in your career?
This opportunity does not come up very often. I was talking to Gaussman the other day, and I said, what's the furthest you've made it in the playoffs? And he said, this is the furthest I've done. And he's been playing this game for a long time. So I'm very blessed to be in the situation. And I not only want to win and keep playing for myself, but for the guys that have not seen this part of baseball before.
Any questions for Trey? Trey, what'd you think of Ohtani last night?
That was awesome. Special player.
All right, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow. And that concludes our availabilities today. As soon as we have a sense of tomorrow's schedule, we will send it out and let us know if you need anything. Thank you.